Hello, YouTube. So it's been 20 years with The Real Housewives. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary with a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip road trip across all the cities. They just finished filming and it's had me reminiscing on all my favorite housewives throughout the years, throughout all the franchises. You know what? I thought I'd come on here and talk about them all, city by city. Why not? I'll go in order by how the franchises were introduced. If I get one or two wrong, stake me on the cross. I'm a fake fan. But of course, we have to start with the original Orange County. And this is a franchise I used to be quite fond of, but I did not even watch the last season because they brought somebody I don't like back. My ultimate favorite from Orange County is Tamra Judge. I think she just totally elevates any scene she's in. She knows how to bring the drama. She knows how to bring the mess. She knows how to bring the personal storylines. Like, just think of when she asked for a divorce on camera. That can never be taken away from her. And she's got a lot of great memes from the show too. That's my opinion. She's got my favorite, the sis and deceased. Here's your letter. Oh my gosh. She's just a firecracker, and I think she is an addition to any cast she's on, and the show was at its lowest when she was not there. Who would I be if I didn't mention Vicki Gunvalson? Congratulations to her. She's getting her orange back. We know she's been desperate for it. She's somebody who drives me crazy. Like, she really does. She does a lot of insane stuff. Especially think back to when the whole cancer gate of it all. Like, you side-eye Vicki, but some part of me still finds Vicki compelling, and I'm fascinated watching her life play out and how she operates through life. Will her return to the show be enough to reel me back in? No. But I think she's a plus. I'm curious to see where she's at in life right now. My favorite of the OGs was always Jo De La Rosa. I think she does not get enough credit for what she's contributed to the Real Housewives franchise. I think from those first two seasons, Vicki was not the standout. Jo was the standout. And Jo, she was the first housewife to drop music. She was the first housewife to have a spinoff. I think it's criminal that she has not gotten to reclaim her orange yet. And I think that would be a great thing to do for the 20th season. Come on, give it to her. I love Jo. One of the most iconic one-season wonders of all of Housewives is Noella. She came on the show when it was at its lowest. Season 16, Heather just came back, but it was Noella who gave us some fantastic TV and stood her ground despite all the girls ganging up on her. It is criminal that they chased her off that show. I think she was made for TV. And I have to give a shout out to Katie too. It was announced that she got fired. I think that is also criminal. I think she could have really brought something fresh to Orange County if she was given the chance to shine, but they're just stuck living in the past, and that's a shame. Kill your own show by keeping on the dead weight and getting rid of anybody who offers anything new. Moving on to the second city, it's New York, and I will not be talking about this very long because I'm not the biggest fan of The Real Housewives of New York. I was happy when it got canceled originally, and none of the reboot girls are any good either, so they're not making my favorites list. But I'll give a shout out to Aviva Drescher. She had the most iconic moment of New York when she yanked off her leg and threw it across the table. That is the one time I was really watching The Real Housewives of New York and I said to myself, this is television. This is reality TV at its best. Just iconic. But I'll also give a shout out to Alex McCord. Look at the ladies nowadays. They're all as desperate as could be. But Alex McCord, who was originally like the social climber, she always stood true to who she is, and she's the only girl who I think has any class nowadays of the New York girls. So sure, maybe some of the other New York girls are considered iconic and have their moments that stick with time, But I don't care, and this is my favorites list, and I'm not gonna give them any credit. So moving right along, we have The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I'm probably gonna be here for a while. But first and foremost, Nene Leakes, the most iconic housewife of all time. Every housewife I mention here, none of them compare to Nene. Nene's the blueprint. Nene has made this franchise what it is. Thank goodness she's finally returning to Bravo. It's long overdue. I want all the success for Nene. I think Nene is not only the best housewife, she's one of the greatest reality TV stars of all time. The only reality TV star who is even comparable to her in terms of legendary is Tiffany New York Pollard. Nene Leakes has given her life to this show, and I can never say enough nice things about her. And look through my camera roll, you'll see clips and pictures of Nene Leakes throughout because she is a walking meme. But she's also given us so much of her real life. Just a legendary housewife, and she's been so missed in Bravo. But Nene's not the only OG who I'm very fond of. I don't think Sheree gets enough credit for what she's brought to this show. Just think about Who Gonna Check Me Boo. Sheree is always entertaining to me. Sheree brings us delusion. She thinks she is God's gift to earth, and she's running with that attitude throughout life. And you know what? I respect it. She came in the first season. She said, I want to start a fashion line. She threw a fashion show with no fashions. How dreadful. And Sheree, she got stuff started from episode 1 of Atlanta. She's the one who left Nene off that list and then lied about her for years. She stood firm on, no, Nene, you were on the list. Sheree kept Nene off that list. Intentionally. But then even with all her comebacks, I've always been excited every time. She has one of my favorite taglines. Don't call it a comeback, call it a takeover. Anytime somebody says the word comeback to me, I have to go into the quote. Joggers, September, spring, summer. And then even her last return, we have her sitting out in her full brown attire, waiting for that man fresh out of jail. He's not coming for you. And she had that whole feud with Candy. Oh, I just love Sheree. Put some respect on her name. And you know what? There's another OG who I want to give a shout out to. Lisa Wu. She was on for 2 seasons, but you know what? She really brought it those 2 seasons. Go back and watch that season 1 reunion, and the way she was giving it to Kim Zolciak, I respect it. She can hold her head high. Like, you had a good run on the show, and I also don't think she gets the respect she deserves. We've seen her appear a few times in guest appearances, and she was drunk. She was drunk and she was fighting in all of her guest appearances. But you know what, Lisa? You do you. You're popping in for a party, then you're heading back home. I'm also a big fan of Cynthia Bailey. I wasn't for like the first 2 seasons, but then around season 5, I really just started to get it. Like, okay, Cynthia is our peacekeeper, and I always loved her dynamic with Nene, but Cynthia, she always served as a grounding presence in the show. I typically listen to what Cynthia says and be like, okay, I see your side. You got a point here. She was the voice of reason. But don't get it twisted. Cynthia could still get in on the mess. Cynthia kept it classy, and she always looked fantastic, whatever she was doing, unless she took like a weird fashion choice, which all the girls have done. I'm also a huge fan of Marlo Hampton, the original friend of, the most iconic friend of. She gave us so many classic moments, and she wasn't even a full-time housewife. And then when she did become a housewife, I enjoyed her as a housewife. I think the overall cast was a mess. Do I think she was a perfect housewife? No, but I thought she brought the entertainment, even though those seasons aren't great. I will not sit here and fault Marlo for all of it. I still would like to see her hold a peach again, but I think she needs Nene there too, because her and Nene, that was the dynamic. They were the friends. Everybody thought her and Nene weren't going to get along at first, but then they immediately buddy up, and it was such a lovely friendship. Nene just allowed a lot of these girls to succeed because of her dynamics with them. Last but not least, for Atlanta, I'm gonna go ahead and say Kenya Moore. I was on the fence about this. She used to be like my second favorite behind Nene, but on like her last few seasons, she really lost me. I was huge Kenya super fan for season 5 and season 6. But then with season 8, and she was so nasty to Kim Fields, and I adore Kim Fields. Kim Fields is a Hollywood legend, and Kenya clearly was intimidated. But that's when Kenya started to lose me, and then she kind of got fake on the show. So she's fallen out of like my favorites, but how could I not mention her when she is such a big person on the show? I think that's all I could say for Atlanta. There's a few other girls who are like great. There's like one or two who I just despise. But I'm only talking about favorites today, so I can just move right along, move over to New Jersey. I will not be here long either. And you might not expect this, but I'm gonna say my favorite from New Jersey of all of them is Danielle Staub. She just was chaos. That's all I can really say about her. She brought such an attitude, and in that second season, all the girls hated her. Imagine all the girls hating you from season 2. Wild. But she still kept on going, kept on pushing along, and she took it like a champ. It's really a shame she got ran off so fast for that show. It was a big loss for the show. I'll shout out Teresa here, but I'm not the biggest fan of her, and I'm not the biggest fan of New Jersey either. Like, I just think the men are too involved, and that pushes me off of it. But come on, Teresa flipped that table, and I think Danielle deserves credit for that, but like, that was Teresa's moment. I think those two are the only girls from New Jersey I really care about in the slightest. So yeah, there's New Jersey. Next up is Beverly Hills, and I do not like this franchise at all. Like, I'm not watching the current season. I didn't watch the season before. And I don't think it's really had a good season since season 5. But there are some housewives who I do like. And of course, I'll start with Lisa Vanderpump. Such an iconic name. She brought the wealth. She brought the British humor. And she did bring the drama. Like, what would the girls have to talk about if they weren't constantly picking at Lisa Vanderpump? And it's a shame she left that show the way she did, and those girls were so nasty to her on her way out, because she is such a star. It's clearly jealousy. I mean, she's doing just fine, and I'm not watching Vanderpump Rules for her, but Lisa Vanderpump is a Housewives icon. She always will be. If they can ever get her back, get her back. The other OG who I just adore is Taylor. She had her whole life fall apart on camera, but she still kept filming. Like, props to her. That second season, that was Taylor's season, and it was dark, it was tragic, but it was electric TV. I guess I could also mention Kim Richards too. I don't really think of her as my favorite, but then when you look back on the show, you think about how she was struggling through her addiction through the show, and how her own sister was basically her worst enemy. And I hate Kyle more than any other housewife, so I'm not going to be speaking about her here. But watching Kim deal with all of that, it was a lot. She knows how to bring it. Like, the Amsterdam fight where she was giving it to Lisa Rinna. Oh, get her again. And then when she was on that one season as a friend of, and she brought the bunny to the reunion, like, iconic. So she's not necessarily like a favorite. Like, I'm looking forward to all her scenes, but Kim always gives a good moment. The one thing that kept me watching the show after Lisa Vanderpump left was the introduction of Garcelle on the show. And I was a fan of Garcelle before Housewives. So seeing Garcelle on Housewives was fun. She didn't have much going on in her personal life, or she wasn't showing it on the show really, but she added such life to those group scenes, and it was nice to finally get a different perspective on the show. And she always stood her own. She did not need any of the clout from those girls, so she did her thing. And it's a shame they chased her off the show. I did not watch her last season. And I did not watch her last season because of another one of my favorites, Crystal, getting fired. And I think firing Crystal was one of the biggest mistakes ever. It might be shocking that she's one of my favorites because she had a difficult time really getting in the mix, but I also think she was so fresh on the show. She brought the lifestyle, the Hollywood lifestyle with her husband. Like, she was in the mix, and we had her whole 13 French drum. It's like, get one of them on the show, build the show around Crystal. And Crystal, she knew how to stick up and defend herself when she needed to. She got in some good fights. She gave us some good drama. In her last season, when she got fired, she was the most entertaining housewife on the cast. Look, she got fired because they wanted to protect the other girl. Dorit's whole time on the show, she's said and done some very, very offensive things. And I think they fired Crystal because they wanted to save Dorit's reputation. Because that's what this Bravo stuff likes to do on a lot of their shows. You'll see that trend. Like, look at OC. Look at what happened to Noella, and look at what happened to Katie. And look at what happened to Crystal, and look at what happened to Garcelle. This is a pattern. But I adore Garcelle and Crystal. I think they could have really saved the show if they could ever break up the alliances that have completely made Beverly Hills unwatchable as a franchise nowadays. But last but not least, for Beverly Hills, I have to shout out another all-timer, one-season wonder, Carlton the Witch. Oh my gosh, she has so many iconic moments. She went at Kyle every chance she got, and as a Kyle hater from day one, oh, I got my life every time. But also, she's a witch. There is nobody else like Carlton. We needed 50,000 seasons of her. Oh, what casting. Bring her back. I'll just say this here. I'm not getting into like DC or Dallas or Dubai. I don't care. So I'm just gonna hop right into Miami next. And the first housewife I have to mention with Miami is Adriana. She sings the theme song. Like, that's how you know she's iconic. She's forever etched into Housewives, just for the theme song alone. But I also think she carried the show back in the day, the first 3 seasons. She was the star. And then we come back and she's the friend of it. Every season, I feel like I'm just begging, like, give Adriana her mojito back. This is the star of the show. Center everything around her. She is such a character, and if she was on another franchise like Beverly Hills, she'd easily be the star over there too, but she's on the underappreciated Miami, which Miami is a fantastic housewife show. It just is. If you're not watching Miami, what are you doing? But really, Adriana is an all-timer housewife in my mind. She has so many iconic moments. She had that fight with Joanna. She came to every single reunion, fiery. The first live reunion, the Watch What Happens Live 30-minute special, she was on there saying, if everybody did what I did, this show would be bigger than Beverly Hills. And in season 2, she gave Joanna hell, and I hated Joanna, so I was like living for it. Oh my gosh. And then in this last season, we had the whole Haitian mortician thing. I was on the edge of my seat. Oh, I just adore her. Give her the mojito back. I don't care who you got to take it from. Nobody else matters as much. There's really only one other person I want to mention for Miami, and that is Gertie. I loved Gertie from the start too, but when I was really like, Gertie is something special, it was in the season where she got cancer and we saw her fighting cancer. We saw her shave her head on a camera. That is something we'd never seen on Housewives before, and she beat it. She is doing well nowadays. I'm so happy for her and her continued survival and thriving. She's embracing the bald hair now. She looks fabulous. Every time she was on screen last season, besides when she was like taking bizarre fashion risk, which, like, that's fashion. It's gonna hit, it's gonna hit miss. So I respect it. But come on. You know better, Gertie. And she can also get in the mix. She can have a good argument and she can hold her own. I don't think she gets enough credit for how much of her reality she's brought into the show. Next is Potomac. And this is another franchise I just have a soft spot for. I love every season of Potomac, even the worst seasons. I think it is some peak Housewives. My favorite from Potomac is Karen Huger. Like, she might be fresh out of jail and she might have just missed the last season, Well, at time of recording, she just had her interview, and I was just like, you know, I really did miss you, Karen. Like, you needed to serve your time. You needed some humble pie. But you are a TV personality through and through. And she brings such life to that show. She's so entertaining. She knows how to fight. She's given us some of her life. She just gave us a lot of her life in that interview. She's a bit cagey, absolutely, but she has let us into her life, and she knows how to bring the group together. And I would give Karen a lot of credit for allowing Potomac to be a strong ensemble cast. Just like Nene, how I kept mentioning all sorts of Atlanta girls, and I would give Nene the credit for that. Karen, I could also give her that same credit for, because Karen was such a good anchor, she allowed these other girls to thrive. Karen is so funny. That is the main thing with Karen Huger. Moving on, I will mention another one season wonder. I have to give a shout out to Katie Ross, one of the best to ever do it. She gave the Green Eyed Bandits hell, and I will always respect her for that. I hope she's doing well. I'm not sure if I want to include this person, but I will, and it's Candace, who I've always had an iffy dynamic with. I've never hated her, and I have always liked her, but she could just be so frustrating at times, and you could tell she was one of the younger ones on the show, because she'd be so immature, and she'd be so stuck in her ways. She'd be so stubborn sometimes. I think she has a good heart, and she also gives TV gold. And she's on Traders right now at the time of making this video, and I'm so happy for her that she's getting to have this second life after she had such a nasty exit from the show. And I would like to see her return to the show someday. I don't think they need her necessarily right now, but I hope in like maybe 2-3 seasons from now, we get to see Candace back again. Wendy used to be one of my favorites, but that's completely flipped on its head with everything that was going on with her right now. And I'm looking back sideways at everything she's done, but I think she's a very captivating figure on the show right now. But you know what? I'll give a shout out to all 4 of the new girls right now. We have Stacy, Kiarna, Angel, and Tia. I don't think any of them have really 100% sold me right now, but I totally see a path for all 4 of them to become some of my favorites. I think they've all had a very solid season, and I'm positive on all of them right now. I think they need another season with Karen for me to really decide and be like, oh, you have staying power. I just think Karen is so essential to the show. Moving on, we have, I guess, the last city I'm going to talk about, and that is Salt Lake City. I will not be here very long either, because I think a lot of these girls are insufferable. But you know who I adore? Mary Cosby. I think she is a star. She was a star from episode 1 when she was talking about Jen Smells Like Hospital. They tried to ice her out for the first 4 seasons of this show, but now in season 5 and 6, Mary is in her full shine. She's giving us the personal drama with all the tragic stuff that's going on with her son. She's giving us all the comedy, all the dynamics. She's playing peacekeeper a bit in this cast. And if any of the girls do try to check her, she is a good comeback. There's so much to say about Mary. Like, she started the show, the first thing we learn about her is she's married to her step-grandfather and she runs a church, but that barely scratches the surface with Mary. There's so much here. I think she is an all-timer housewife, and it's a shame she's stuck with such a weak cast, and a cast that gets so stuck on like stupid arguments. Like, why are we arguing about who saw what online? I hope she's able to outlast some of these girls and get on a cast who actually live real lives that they can fight about instead of pure nonsense. I want to briefly mention Bronwyn. She's not one of my favorites right now, but I think with one more season and with this divorce and everything, she's shown me a lot of potential, and I think she could become a favorite, and I think she's a great addition to the show. But last but not least, I have to mention Monica Garcia. One of the most iconic one-season wonders of all time. How could I not mention her? She gave us the best, and honestly, I would say the only great season of the show. Like, I think season 2 had its moments. There's so much about that season that just frustrated me to no end. And then season 5 and 6, they also had their moments, but it's just, I, they need some changes. We'll say that. But Monica, she had the whole cast against her and she stood her ground. She's been vindicated too, because all this time they gave her so much flack for spreading gossip online. But here they're just casually mentioning it that Lisa Barlow has a burner account where she starts it. Like, you all do. You all do, and you don't care that Lisa does, so why does she care that Monica does? As these girls just make a fool of themselves, Monica looks better and better by comparison. Like, Monica's a mess, but Monica wasn't any worse than those girls. And she was better than those girls because she actually had her own life going on. She had her mama drama. But Monica is a made-for-TV personality, and even if she doesn't return to Salt Lake City, I need to see her on something else. We've got unfinished business with Monica on TV. So there we have it. I've listed off all my favorite housewives. I love to talk about the housewives, and I'll definitely be back to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac this current season at some point. It's excellent. Oh, and we've got the Real Housewives of Rhode Island coming soon. So I'm very excited for that. Ashley I from The Bachelor, I was a big fan of her. So it'll be good. So stay tuned until next time. Bye.